Steven.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah, my headphones are really loud. I didn't expect that one.
I'll speak slow. I'll speak a little softer then.
No, it's okay. You could. I'll just turn down the volume. It was all the way up. It's back where it's supposed to be. That scared the shit out of me, though.
I apologize. Steven.
Not your fault, man. Anyway, what's up?
Have you and Jesse finished off those nuggies yet?
No, they are still in the fridge. Jesse
Damn
was
right.
supposed to take them for lunch, and she didn't.
Well, no one likes cold McNuggets, chicken McNuggets from McDonald's.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I snuck a couple in.
There you go.
Before dinner last night. Was heating up a little bit of that pork, a little bit of the carnitas. Although we still got the sauces all sitting on the table right now. Those could come in come in handy at some point.
They're just sitting on the table?
Well, one of them, not the open ones, the closed ones, just
okay.
The unused sauces. They're just sitting there.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, me and Steven watched the Super Bowl together on Sunday. Went to his new place in the Meta, and brought over some 40 chicken McNuggets. And I'd say I probably ate the majority of them.
Dude, I got a good amount in. I got a good amount in. I snuck in like 2 or 3 just periodically throughout the game.
Nice.
I didn't eat like a big amount, but I had like enough.
I want to say I grabbed probably like 10 during the game.
that's so dangerous. Like, I think the reason they set the limit at like 4 or 10 is just so you don't overindulge. But when you bring along 40 McNuggets, sky's the limit.
Yeah, man. You have to indulge. And yes, Otis Bird, 40 chicken McNuggets. You're damn right it was 40 chicken McNuggets. It was tasty. And no, Ernie one, I did not bring Little Caesars. I've been chastised on the Dirty Work show for my methods of bringing food over. Didn't know there was an egg shortage. I guess I need to bone up on my current events. But apparently, if I were to bring Little Caesars or DiGiorno to a Super Bowl party, I would be ostracized. And I was contemplating, I was like, Steven, what we got for a main course? I was like, should I bring over DiGiorno pizza? But then I was like, that's probably frowned upon.
I'm not sure how I would have felt with DiGiorno. Little Caesars would have been fine.
So, okay, but do I have to specify that's Little Caesars before I head over?
What if you're saying like you're bringing pizza?
Yes.
I think it'd be nice if you specified what it would be. I wouldn't reject it if you were to say it in the first place. Had you brought it over, I would have said, oh, so you brought a Little Caesars, huh? Then would have taken a little jab at you and then would have eaten a lovely slice of pepperoni.
Exactly. But my thing is, people are sleeping on DiGiorno. And it's not delivery. It's DiGiorno. And it's quite
Giordano?
Matt Giordano. But no, Steven was a gracious host, him and Jesse. Came away with some what would you call it? Utensils. So I'm becoming more of an adult. I have a ladle and a spatula. Or I had a spatula before, but now I got a mixer to whip up some I don't know, cakes.
yeah, dude, you got the old school mixer.
I don't know what I'll ever use that for, but it's nice to have. But Steven grilled up some pork. That was tasty. Had those on some tortillas. Brought over some Cheeto Puffs, and I didn't become a 10-year-old like I did back in the day. I didn't dip those in water because we all agree that Cheeto Puffs are best when they're soggy.
God, what?
I don't do that anymore, Steven, but back in the day, you best believe that Cheeto Puffs are better when they're wet.
I'd rather not put them into my mouth when they're wet. I'd rather have my saliva soak up the Cheeto juices.
It takes a while to suck them down to that tasty way.
to that tasty consistency that you want in Cheeto, which is wet and soggy.
Yes. And yeah, and I have no problem saying this. Yeah, it was absolutely disgusting. I would have like a glass of water next to me, dunk them in, and you have like cheesy water next to you, and I wouldn't drink the water, but definitely dump that out afterwards.
Man, if there was like a director or something listening to us, someone who's about to write a movie, one about a serial killer, that could absolutely be one of their a serial killer trope, I guess. It would be dunking Cheetos in water. Like, you know how the big thing with kind of the more eccentric villains in movies is having milk like Anton Chigurh, drinking a whole thing of milk, or
McCoy.
or the what was her name from Get Out? Spoiler alert. Uh, when she's dipping the milk with the cereal in the
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? That's a thing. But I think dipping Cheetos into water could be a new serial killer trope in movies.
Well, can we all agree that Dan Orlovsky is way more of a serial killer than I am, where he eats around the ice cream of an ice cream sandwich or whatever he was eating, a Snickers ice cream sandwich?
Do you believe in any of that? I'm not trying to poo-poo what you're saying, but his food takes are that literally unbelievable. I have a hard time understanding that he actually does these things with his food. It is
Why would he
disturbing.
Lie? Why would he go out of his way to be a weirdo?
Because he's on ESPN, dude. They all lie about everything.
Not anymore, Steven. Not anymore.
Well, they might pay him. I think they might pay him, but
They
they're on
might pay
ESPN,
him, or
dude.
he might go into coaching. It sounds like.
Oh, that'd be a good point. But they like, that's what ESPN does. Producers are like, lean into it. Try to just make this as gross as possible.
Well, I'm authentic. Yes,
Yeah.
I dip my Cheetos in water. I like myself DiGiorno. Yeah, I'm me, baby. If you don't like that, sorry. But all I can be is just me. And I am whatever you say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am?
Thank you, Deminem. I don't know where I was.
Yeah.
It is a nice gesture though to leave the Cheetos Puffs in the household. That is welcome at all times. Like,
And I brought beer. I brought a
You did.
12 case of Modelo. So
you did.
have fun with that. And we had ourselves a grand old time watching Super Bowl 59. And I got to say, well, just your opinion, man, by the way. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Doing our Super Bowl preview show. And the usual thing we do this time of year. This is going to be our last show for a little bit of time. Going to go on a little vacay to Del Boca Vista to see me mom and take a week off. I'll bring my laptop with me just in case there's crazy breaking news. But the plan is we'll take a little time off, and later in the show we'll give you the date when we're back. We still got the Jammies that we're going to do, the second annual Jammies. We'll see if anybody can overtake Ernie 1 as Opiner of the Year. So by all means, everybody, give us your best compliments, and maybe you could be this year's winner.
Wow. That's what it takes, huh?
That's all it takes is just a little bit of flattery. Tacky, take notes. You could be better than just the asshole you've been on this chat.
Wow, brutal.
But no, Super Bowl was fun. Yeah. And got to be honest, even though I took the Eagles, I did not anticipate them being up 34-0. It was like utter domination. It was reminiscent of the Seahawks kicking the crap out of the Broncos almost 10 years ago.
Or the Bucks kicking the crap out of the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like that. The way that Patrick Mahomes was struggling in the Super Bowl was reminiscent of that as well. But, I mean, off the rip, like we thought, like, oh no, are the Chiefs going to get favorable calls with A.J. Brown getting called for offensive pass interference on that 4th and 2 play? And there was a little bit of hands to the face in the helmet, but I don't think they should have called the flag there.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I know some people are like, it wasn't a close game, and I know you were kind of upset with that a little bit, Steven. But if it was the other way around, if it was the Chiefs just kicking the crap out of the Eagles, I would have been like, God, this sucks. With the Eagles kicking the crap out of the Chiefs and preventing the three-peat, I was satisfied.
Yeah, it is a little bit like watching. You remember that viral video where there's a bigger kid a smaller kid who's bullying a much bigger kid, and it was filmed in Australia, and the bigger kid just body slams him. Like, you don't ever want to see that, but when a bully is going after someone, you want that bully to get it. And that's exactly what happened with the Chiefs.
Just desserts.
They've been bullying. They've been bullying the NFL over the past few years in these Super Bowls, and it's nice to see them get beat up for a change. It's because the numbers, whether it's point differential, Patrick Mahomes, what he was doing at quarterback, their lack of a run game, it goes against everything that would make a team that finished the season, what, 15-2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but you have to give it to the Chiefs because they're the Chiefs. And finally, it felt like all their shortcomings just came back to haunt them in this one. And the Eagles just took full advantage, man. And they just kept on scoring. Patrick Mahomes was rattled. I haven't seen him like that before.
Yeah.
Like, you read this stuff, like there's an article from The Athletic just after the AFC Championship where Matt Nagy's talking about how, what's it called? Matt Nagy's, he's basically saying Patrick Mahomes turns into like this superhero. You should see him get into game mode during the meetings. He turns into like a different person. So when you take all that into account, you'd think that he is kind of like a superhero on the field, but he just looked human, or as Tom Brady called him, unhuman, which is a weird thing.
Yeah, we'll get to Tom Brady later. There was a lot of questionable decisions in the Fox broadcast. But as far as the game, the 4th and 2 call didn't hurt them. They got the ball back immediately. I mean, the Chiefs did next to nothing offensively in the first half. 23 yards of total offense. Yikes. Like, you and I have seen some bad Raider games that kind of were reminiscent of that. But
not in the Super Bowl where the opposition scores 24 points.
No, I know. And like I felt so bad for Jahan Dotson because that would have been just a great Super Bowl moment. He's like, he doesn't do anything in the regular season. He catches that one touchdown in the playoff game. And then he scores. And I'm like, oh, is this knee down the 1 yard line? Sure enough, it was. And they're not going to give him the ball again. So they do the tush push. Jalen Hurts scores. And just, I mean, like the defense of the Eagles, I thought that they were better than the Eagles defense 2 years ago. Like, they got no pass rush the last time they played, and a lot of people thought about the field conditions and the turf and the Eagles just not having the good cleating in that game. But this time around, their coverage was the difference. Their ability to take away the Chiefs receivers, to basically disrupt Patrick Mahomes every single play. And they didn't blitz at all. They just brought 4. They got 6 sacks. Great performance by Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. The pick 6 by Cooper DeJean. An exciting White on his birthday even. That, I think, was like the first time we all kind of raised in our seats being like, oh, is this going to happen? Damn. And then when they went up 24-0 with the A.J. Brown touchdown, I was like, okay, this could happen here. Because they're kicking their ass. Now, it wasn't until after Kendrick Lamar and when we got to the second half, I think you and I were still thinking, like, they could still come back. Like, this is Patrick Mahomes we're talking about. They're down 3 scores, but it would be so epic of him to come back in a huge deficit, kind of like Tom Brady against the Atlanta Falcons. They could score 3 touchdowns. They have to get three 2-point conversions as well, but I wasn't putting it out of the realm of possibility. When they made them punt, and when they were up 27-0 and they stopped them on 4th down, I was like, oof, this might actually happen. And then when the Eagles went for the jugular and threw that deep pass to Devontae Smith, it's over. 34-0. You're not coming back from that one. So great performance by Jalen Hurts. Kind of debatable if he should have been MVP, but the defense was so freaking good. I mean, Zach Bond had a great interception. Like it just felt like Mahomes was just thrown off the whole night. Like he was anticipating Travis Kelce to be there or Juju Smith-Schuster to be there. Their receivers looked really old. I'm talking about like DeAndre Hopkins and mainly DeAndre Hopkins. Him dropping that pass, that would have been a huge gain, and him getting covered by Avonte Maddox on the 4th and 5.
Travis Kelce wasn't a factor at all.
Not at all. I mean, when we were going up, when we were comparing these teams position by position, it, like, in hindsight now, it's not even close. It's not even close to the Eagles receivers. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they're younger, they're more powerful, explosive. Xavier Worthy is going to be a force in this league for years to come. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know about his future. I think Marquise Hollywood-Brown didn't do much. I think one thing the Chiefs are going to do this offseason is try to upgrade a wide receiver because they got by the last few Super Bowls. But, yeah, I mean, kudos to the Eagles. Jalen Hurts had a great performance, as I was saying. Like, a defensive MVP, it's hard to single one person out. Maybe Cooper DeJean for the pick 6. But if you score 2 touchdowns through the air and rushing for one, you deserve to be MVP. So no problem with Jalen Hurts getting it. And just I was shocked that Saquon was held to 57 yards rushing, and that wasn't a factor at all. Like they still were able to do a lot offensively. Steve Spagnuolo had a great defensive game plan to stifle the run, but that left everything open up for the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I loved it. I didn't want to see the Chiefs three-peat. Great performance by the Eagles.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts was just precise, man. He was accurate. He was getting the ball out on time. He was getting the ball out in rhythm. He wasn't doing a lot of this holding on to the ball stuff, except for that one interception. That was bad. But other than that, it just felt like they played really clean football. They didn't look shaken, man. They didn't look shaken. No. Like that's all Patrick Mahomes looked. And you're talking about another guy, like obviously he had the numbers to back it up, but Nolan Smith was probably the most deserving of the defensive line just because he actually put up the numbers. But once Jalen Hurts threw that dot to Devontae Smith, you knew that he was getting the MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we said it, but even after, like, you never want to count out Mahomes and the Chiefs, but you knew something was off after that interception when they were pinned back at whatever it was, their own 10 or whatever.
The Zach Bond pick.
Yeah, like you knew that something was off because that's a situation where it's like, okay, well, the Chiefs are kicking off. They're in the second half, or they're receiving in the second half. Like this is where they potentially score. They run down the clock, then they're going to get the ball at halftime, then they score again, and this turns into a ball game. We've seen it. We've seen it so many times with the Chiefs, but after Mahomes threw that interception, you're just like, my God. This defensive line just keeps feasting. Did you see that video? I think something that was like the perfect representation of this game. Did you see that video of Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis just manhandling Travis Kelce?
No, I didn't actually.
Dude, there's a close-up of it. Like Travis tries pushing him out of the way after in a little post-play scrum, but he couldn't move him. Like he just couldn't move him. And I think for the first time in his career, Kelce really felt like, oh shit, this is a young man's game here. Like I might be like, he's still really good, but this season he wasn't great. And I think the Super Bowl might have kind of showed him like, man, I'm not this big dude anymore. These other guys are just different.
I can't wait for the mic'd up to hear, like, you know, we were saying it during the game the whole time. It's just every time Mahomes messed up, it's him going, fuck, damn it. Like I want to hear. Like I want like you know, like when you hear like Super Bowl NFL film stuff, you hear like the guys on the sideline being like, "Hey, here we go! It's gonna be the greatest comeback of all time." At what point did it set in for the Chiefs just being like, "We're not winning this one. This is not our night. We're not three-peating." And I love good revenge. I love when a team beats you the first time and then you come back the second time, which I have to believe. I know that 49er fans didn't want to see the Chiefs three-peat because I think a lot of them are like, fuck the Chiefs. They won 2 against us. And older 49er fans, like I even asked Brett Jones this the other day, do you think like that what could have been in 1990, they were so close and Roger Craig fumbles? But when the Eagles win it, it's a team that 49er fans hate. And you also got to think like, why couldn't the 49ers do that? Why couldn't they do that last year? They had opportunities. They were up 10-0. McCaffrey fumbles. They just didn't put up enough points. That it was there for the taking. The defense actually played fairly well in that game until, you know, the final possession where Mahomes goes down, throws a touchdown pass to McCole Hardman.
Right.
But I got to believe that some 40, like I know like a lot of fans didn't watch AJ Cruz. Prove me wrong. I guess he didn't watch Super Bowl at all, even though he watched the halftime show. And you said you were going to watch a second of it, but I guess that doesn't count. I just think that some 49er fans are thinking like, okay, the blueprint's there. We definitely got to invest some money in the defensive line. But damn, we should have been able to do what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl.
I don't know how you look at that and think that, I mean, sure, they need to invest in the defensive line, but Nick Bosa's not getting any younger. What if he takes a step back next year? Like, I don't know. I think you got to come to the realization here that, you know, 49ers might be a playoff team next year, but the Eagles and the Lions, I still think, even though there's a coaching change with the Lions, I know that. I still think those are the teams to beat in the NFC, and the Eagles are it seems like the Eagles are just getting started, man. They got a lot of players. Sure, they got quite a few free agents, but they got a lot of players coming back. And a lot of them, as you saw in the secondary with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, they'll be able to take over for Darius Slay as a number one corner. Like, they'll have no problem doing that. Like, their secondary is going to be fine. They're probably going to give Zach Bond a huge contract. I don't know how they're going to replace Lane Johnson. I don't know when the end of his contract is, but
he's coming back this year, though.
God, with that offensive line, it was like a seamless transition with Jason Kelsey to Cam Jurgens. There was no problem there at the center position. And obviously Saquon is under contract for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
And I think Jalen Hurts is just going to get more confident now that he's a Super Bowl champ. Bottom line is the guy wins. That was really cool to see everything coming back for Hurts. I know I've kind of talked a little bit of shit, you know, how he speaks in quotes. He's just a quote machine and doesn't speak other than that. But with kind of his journey and everything that came along with it, seeing kind of the emotions that he had after the game, it was a real cool moment for him to win MVP. I'm almost glad Saquon didn't win it, just because Jalen Hurts has been through so much. And there was that disrespect. I thought after the first game after the first playoff game, when it, you know, you see the memes out there saying like, can't wait to watch Jalen Hurts throw for 113 yards and get a win in an NFC championship. Like, that's just so disrespectful, dude.
Yeah,
like,
but it was the truth for a while, though, Steven, because
sure.
Jalen Hurts was more of not a one-man machine, but during the 2022 season, he had a case for MVP because he was putting up gaudy stats. Yeah. And he didn't have the running game that he has right now with Saquon Barkley. He had a good runners in Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell, but a lot of it was on him. And he had A.J. Brown, which made him an MVP contender. But that was fair. I mean, like, I'm glad that he proved the critics wrong and he got MVP, and him and Darius Slay on the post game were like, yo, go ahead and talk that shit because now I backed it up. But it was valid. He definitely fell off a cliff the last 2 seasons. He did not put up the same stats, but you don't have to. When you got Saquon and you got these playmakers, that's the kind of thing like no one's thinking the Eagles are crazy for overpaying for Jalen Hurts. Like, he makes $53 million a year, I believe, and no one's like he gets overpaid just to hand off to Saquon Barkley. That could be the case with Brock Purdy. He's going to have talent around him. We'll see about Deebo Samuel, but yeah, like he definitely has not lived up to 2022, but he did in this game. He threw a dime to Devontae Smith, and he went like it was a little bit in the NFC Championship game. Saquon was able to run, but he was able to throw when he needed as well. So a lot of kudos to him. I mean, he's definitely deserving of being MVP. So yeah, I'm very happy for him for proving everybody wrong. Yeah. As far as the Chiefs, now this is twice where their offensive line issues definitely prevented them from winning the Super Bowl. It happened the second time in the Super Bowl where they faced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where they were they're missing their top 2 tackles. I think it was Mitchell Schwartz and Eric Fisher, so the Bucs were just able to feast on them. And this time around, like, it's the same thing. Joe Thuney, he's a great offensive lineman, but he is not a left tackle. So Josh Sweat and these other guys were able to force pressure. That was the difference in this game. The offensive line issues. Patrick Mahomes was uncomfortable the whole night. And it's unfortunate because I think that this Chiefs team is a little bit better than last year, but their offensive line was much better against the 49ers. So in this game, the Eagles were able to sack Patrick Mahomes 6 times, and the 49ers were only able to do it 3 times at both games, so 6 total in both matchups. So that was a key difference. The pass rush, they exposed their weaknesses, and yeah, you have to give you tip the cap to the Eagles, and they're Super Bowl champions.
They didn't let Patrick Mahomes use his legs really at all, this Eagles team. If I remember correctly, with the 49ers, that was always something that Mahomes did, just making those random plays where he'd just pick up a first down when no one expected it. The Eagles didn't allow him to do that at all yesterday. They were just so quick in the backfield. It was the key. It was everything about that game was the defensive line. Like, you hold that Eagles team, like, how many yards did they have? I didn't even see like the total yards. I know that for the Eagles, they had 345 yards, which is decent, But if they're putting up 40 points on those 345 total yards, like I thought the Chiefs defense did its job containing Saquon and not really letting AJ Brown or Devontae Smith kill you in terms of getting first downs. It was just always field position with them. And it was, I mean, that interception, again, that one going back to that one with Zach Bond, that was really, that was almost the nail in the coffin. How often do you see it, man, where the peak viewership of a Super Bowl was in the second quarter? Like after that, it was done. That's what Fox Sports projected today.
Okay.
They had like record viewership. It was like 126 million people who tuned in to watch on average through streaming platforms, including Tubi, Derek.
Tubi.
Old Tubi Tube. But it peaked at 136 million in the second quarter. And from there, it just went back down.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No one cared. I think Kevin Durant put it perfectly. I don't know if you heard Kevin Durant talk about it. Normally, he's pretty well versed on football and hip hop too. So, reporters thought he was going to have something on Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he was giving his bets for FanDuel with Kay Adams.
He was like, He's like, to be honest, halftime show didn't really mean much to me. I thought the game was average, just kind of a boring Sunday.
Yeah, he's a bitter Commanders fan.
Well, I'm like, well, you didn't have 40 McNuggets and a little carnitas in your spread. So maybe get some of that, KD.
Yeah, KD. Enjoy yourself. Don't worry about Ramona Shelburne saying the locker room's toxic. He's mad about that.
I'd be pissed at that too.
Yeah. She's just doing her job, whatever. So yeah, now with the Super Bowl championship, do we have to think things differently about Nick Sirianni? Because he gets a lot of shit for a guy that doesn't do a lot. I thought it was kind of weak this offseason where he kind of threw his coordinators under the bus. Brian Johnson, who was the OC, I forget the name of the defensive coordinator they had originally, but he got relieved of his play calling duties, and then Matt Patricia was then defensive coordinator. So they go out this offseason, they get big upgrades, and Kellen Moore, who's now your New Orleans Saints head coach, and they got Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio was the best move they could do this offseason. Getting him, getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I mean, think about the moves they did this offseason. Getting Saquon obviously was the best one. There's a lot of ones that they didn't hit on. I mean, like getting Mekhi Becton, which was a huge risk because he wasn't a good right tackle with the Jets. They decided to come up with a unique idea to move him to right guard, and I guess that was Nick Sirianni's idea. Getting Zach Bond, who wasn't a playmaker at all with the Saints, and now he's arguably the best linebacker in football. They go and throw big money at Bryce Huff, but he did not pan out at all, and most likely will get cut because he was inactive for the Super Bowl. So I think you got to give a lot of kudos to Howie Roseman for knowing where they needed to upgrade, getting the coaches they needed, but also Nick Sirianni. Like, you and I called him a meathead, and
Still
it kind of showed this past season where they were 10-1 and he didn't know what to do. And then he went out and got better coordinators, and he's got a Super Bowl. But, he was honest too in the post game, just basically being like, here's the key to coaching a great team, having great players. So I'm not going to say like Nick Sirianni's better than Kyle Shanahan because he has a Super Bowl championship over him. But I think we can't disrespect him as much as we've done in the past because you can't be an idiot and win a Super Bowl. And Doug Peterson won one and then was fired, I think, like 3 years later. So who's to say? But I think we have to give a little more respect to Nick Sirianni now that he's won one.
Well, I don't think anyone was calling him an idiot. I just think people thought he was a little too bombastic, just way too insane, like going after Chiefs fans, even after they beat what are you going to say now, Chiefs fans? Doing all those, like having Big Dom behind you. It was kind of easy to make Nick Sirianni a punching bag. And, all the things that people say about him, I mean, I've never really heard anyone call him an idiot, but yeah, I still think everything is kind of true about what we think with Nick Sirianni, but we also think that he is a tremendous leader. He gets the players to buy in. I mean, speaking after that NFC Championship, when Landon Dickerson was basically limping, then Cam Jurgens came in with a tight back. They said they played because that's how Nick Sirianni coaches them. Like, it's really a team thing. So we could still say that, but we also have to attach that he's a Super Bowl champion to it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if we should start, talking about him in a different light, but we should at least give him the respect that we normally do to Super Bowl head coaches. Like, I don't know, like Doug Peterson, for example. He didn't really do much to turn around that Jaguars franchise. Sure, they won a few games, but no one's calling him a bad coach because they knew that he won the Super Bowl. It's kind of the same thing with Sirianni. I don't know if he's going to do it again with another franchise. He could do it with the Eagles again because a lot of those guys are coming back, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the OC without Kellen Moore there. But that's going to be a big deal. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think all the things we said about him are fairly true. We never really said Nick Sirianni will never win a Super Bowl. We never said anything like that. We just said he's kind of a meathead and he's a little in over his skis sometimes. Like, just calm down as a head coach.
Yeah, but I think also that I guess the whole notion from me, at least, is that he doesn't do anything. And I need to kind of think differently about coaches that don't call plays. Like, there's good CEO coaches. Like, I still have my worries about Dan Campbell taking over with Ben Johnson gone. But maybe he finds a way. Maybe, like, there's good leadership qualities in all these guys, and sometimes that's what you need. And I'm sure, like, whatever was going on with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown this season, he was able to kind of mend fences there a little bit. Even during the Super Bowl, where A.J. Brown was pissed off about Jalen Hurts not throwing him the ball, and he said something to Nick Sirianni, and Sirianni screamed at him. And then, a couple plays later, he scores a touchdown, and it's kumbaya. They're all good. So he just gets it, I think. Like, he even acknowledged that him and Jalen didn't have a good relationship last year, and they were able to figure it out. So I think it's just more of, okay, I'm not good with the X's and O's. I had to have Shane Steichen be my offensive coordinator. I had to have Kellen Moore be my offensive coordinator. Who knows who the next guy's going to be? It's not Bobby Slowick. He took a job today with the Miami Dolphins to be the pass game coordinator. So they're going to go a different route there, which I'm kind of surprised about. But yeah.
Well, maybe though, him not being that like let's just take Kyle Shanahan, for example. Kyle Shanahan can come off as arrogant at times. And if you see a wide receiver doing that to him, do you really think that he's going to be calling him to get the ball in a couple of plays?
No.
Or is he just going to keep on doing whatever he was doing because he's running within the offensive scheme? So I do think there's the advantage there. I think there's more. It's not to say Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a great relationship with his players. Most of them actually do. But there is that aspect to it where they're not going to say, well, what are you yelling about? This is what we talked about. This was my scheme. It's like, oh, shit. Okay, you were open there? All right, maybe we'll make more of an effort here just to actually get you the ball. I mean, maybe that's what would happen there. I don't know. Mic'd up would be great with that one.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that, as I said, like, we can still think the same things. Like, Sirianni's not one of the best coaches in football, but he did the right things, and he's been given a really good team. And yeah, everything he did in the past of him yelling at Chiefs fans or yelling at Colts fans, like, this is for Frank Reich. Like, all right, relax a little bit. He's definitely not screaming as much. Like, I forget it was this season or last season where he was yelling at Chiefs or his own fans. I think it was against the Browns this year, actually, where he was like, oh, you guys are going to boo me? And then I'm sure his team was like, you need to chill out a little bit. So he calmed down after that. Yeah, I just think that, I don't know, like, for me or anybody else to be like, I don't know what he does. He wins Super Bowls now. So you have to give him that credit. And at the same time, Steve Spagnuolo, great defensive coordinator. The Eagles are the only team to really put up a lot of points against them. There was 38-35 in the last Super Bowl, and they scored 40 in this one. So I think that the Eagles have figured something out with their defense.
They don't contain Jalen Hurts at all.
Yeah, they don't.
I think that was a huge difference too. They didn't have any spy on him whatsoever. They were so focused on Barkley trying to stop the run. They forgot that their quarterback's pretty speedy too.
It's tough, though, when you have the best running game of football and then offensive line. And they did a great job stopping Saquon Barkley, and he didn't give two shits. Like, it didn't matter if he went for $159. He went for just 59, and he doesn't give a damn. He didn't care about, getting Eric Dickerson's record. He just wanted to win the Super Bowl. So it's one of the best free agent pickups of all time. It's right up there with Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Reggie White,
White.
Drew
Yeah.
Brees. It's definitely in that category as far as best free agent pickups of all time.
I have a question.
I may have an
Do you think
answer.
do you think so? It seems like this is the start of this could be the start of something special for the Eagles. Like if they, if they keep their foot on the gas going into the next season, like obviously, I mean, they're Super Bowl champs and they went 14-3 and just mowed their way through the playoffs. But my question would be, you think this is the beginning of the end with the Chiefs?
No.
Or do
Not
you
at
think
all.
this is just a minor hiccup, a minor setback for a major comeback?
I mean, do you really think that Patrick Mahomes is going to free fall now?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know.
Are you just like having an argument for the sake of having an argument?
No, I'm just saying, like, he didn't play great this year. They won a lot of games, ones they probably shouldn't have won, and they looked terrible in the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
I just, I don't know. I think I'm not saying I'm not saying he's going to have like a downfall, but I just wonder if this is the beginning of the end of this Chiefs reign here, or if
Nah.
you don't think so.
I think that I want to see somebody in the AFC actually challenge them. I want to see the Bills take the next step, or the Bengals, or the Ravens. But to say like Patrick Mahomes is going to fall off a cliff now, no, he needs to reinvent himself. He needs to be more aggressive as far as what he used to be. Like, he needs to be not MVP of the regular season anymore. I'm not saying he needs to put up gaudy stats, but he was a little lackadaisical this season, just throwing interceptions all willy-nilly and be like, well, okay, well, my defense will bail me out. And that didn't, that he was just kind of careless this year, and it showed in the Super Bowl. I think that they need to get more weapons around him. I think that's pretty clear now. Like, he can't do it all by himself, and he got by with bringing back old Kareem Hunt. And it was clear that the guys that they picked up throughout the season were not the same guys in the Super Bowl. Like, as I said earlier, DeAndre Hopkins, and they couldn't run the ball at all, but they were down so much in this game. They'll get Rashid Rice back, but they need to get like elite wide receivers with him again. So,
Right.
but we'll see about Travis Kelce. Chris Jones also was thrown off in this game, like him having his neck pushed back, and I'm sure that bothered him, and the knee injury he suffered during the game. I can't say that this is going to prevent now the Chiefs are going to have like a downslide. I can't see that whatsoever.
Well, I'm just saying statistically, hasn't been great these past. I know he won the Super Bowl the year before, but it's just been going down more and more as Travis Kelce's production goes down. Obviously, they need to find a number one talent, but those two work so well together, and they've won a lot of games. I will say this: I'm not going to say it's the end for the Chiefs. I'll answer my own question there.
Oh, so you were just bringing that argument just for the sake of it, huh?
No, I was bringing up the question.
Okay.
And you were just so sure of it, Derek. But
I just think it's kind of crazy. But
well, I think it's kind of crazy comparing this team to the dynasty teams of the Patriots. Like I think it's pretty clear here how many of the dynasties in history, when you're thinking of teams that have won back to back, when you're thinking of the Pats, or you're thinking of the Cowboys in the 90s, when you're thinking of the 49ers in the 80s, sure, they've lost some Super Bowls, but they haven't had Super Bowls like the Chiefs, where they've won with really close games, but have just been blown out, dominated in their losses. Like, it's just been, I mean, at least with the 49ers, you've seen, a lopsided score against the Bengals. Obviously you've seen those losses before, but not like that. Not like that, where it just looked like they had no chance. I don't know. I think they got a long way to go before they can be compared to those dynasties of the other decades, the previous decades. They've done a lot of winning, but God, the way they've won and the way they've lost. I know we don't like I know we don't like talking legacy on this show, but I think this kind of tarnishes what they did.
No, really?
I think so.
They
got blown out, dude.
I know they did, but that doesn't like diminish what they've done in the past.
I just think, I'm not saying it diminishes what they've done, but compared to other dynasties of years previous, like, I don't think they're better than the 49ers of the 80s. I don't think they're better than the Cowboys of the 90s. I don't think they're better than the Patriots of the 2000s.
Yeah, it's different.
You know what I mean?
It's definitely different because they didn't complete the three-peat, and they won, you know, a little bit before that. Like, it was 2019.
Had this been a more competitive game, like, Derek, had this been a more competitive game, I wouldn't be bringing up this. I wouldn't bring up this topic at all.
But because they've been blown out in 2 Super Bowls, that changes your opinion?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, not even competitive.
Yeah, I know. I mean, the matchup, I in hindsight now, like, my rationale for picking the Eagles was I just think they're a better team. Like, the Chiefs got by this year, barely scoring 30 points in games. And, I mean, they got by in that AFC Championship game. I thought that the Bills could have won that game easily, but they just didn't take the opportunities. I didn't think they played particularly well against the Texans in that playoff game. So, yeah, I think the Eagles were just more dominant this season. You saw it. Like, there were moments this year, like when Saquon dropped the pass against the Falcons in week 2, or they got blown out by the Buccaneers. They lost on a last-second touchdown pass from Jaden Daniels. But besides that, they kicked the other team's ass for most of the season. So this, while it was surprising, the dominant fashion in which they beat the Chiefs, I think the Eagles were just downright more talented this season.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think the Chiefs will reinvent themselves. And at the same time, you know, we talk about coaching and how that's going to affect the Lions. With the Eagles losing Kellen Moore today, officially being the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, that's interesting. Like, they're not going to have their offensive play caller anymore. And anybody that's come over, like Shane Steichen or Kellen Moore, they figure like they're basically running Nick Sirianni's scheme. Like, they want to run the football in shotgun, and they want to drop back to pass and throw the ball deep to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They do QB runs at times. They do the tush-push, obviously. So they can find somebody. I guess the favorite right now to take over for Kellen Moore is Kevin Patullo, the pass game coordinator, assistant head coach of the Eagles. He's been there for quite some time with Nick Sirianni going back to the Colts. So, yeah, we'll probably see him get that job. But that's the one thing where I'm like, all right, that's, you know, they got to adjust to that. But besides that, they got so much talent. Saquon's going to be around for a long time. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown. No matter how many people think that A.J. Brown is pissed off at Jalen Hurts or Nick Sirianni, he's not going to trade in going back with Mike Vrabel to New England instead of winning Super Bowls. I think that's crazy.
I saw you tweet out Bobby Slowick.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a better idea.
Well, I just said he's gone.
Wait, what? Where?
He's joined the Miami Dolphins as the pass game coordinator.
Since when?
Earlier today.
The hell?
Yeah, he's teaming up with his old buddy Mike McDaniel.
Okay, because the entire time you were talking, I was looking on Twitter to try and see if I remembered your tweet correctly. God damn it.
I mean, Bobby Slowick would be cool, but I guess I'm assuming that they're going to pass this off to Kevin Patullo. I'm assuming Bobby Slowick was waiting around maybe for the Eagles job, and I'm sure they told him we're going to go a different direction.
It's probably be the best team to be the offensive coordinator for, right?
I think so. I think, like, we'll see how Kellen Moore does with the Saints, but it's a great situation. You just hand off to Saquon Barkley. You tell, Jalen Hurts, don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And I think back to the Jalen Hurts disrespect, I did at one point say, like, is he the worst quarterback on Championship Sunday between Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts? And in hindsight now, that's so disrespectful because Jaden Daniels had an awesome season as Rookie of the Year, but Jalen Hurts is a better player, and he was almost MVP 2 years ago. So give him his flowers, as the kids say.
Man, I would not want to be Super Bowl MVP.
Because you have to go to Disney World?
I don't want to go to Disney World. I wouldn't want to wake up to do the press conference. I think that's crazy. Like to have
they don't sleep that whole night, Steven.
Exactly. I would not want to field questions from the media if I just pulled an entire Sunday night bender.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I
hey,
mean?
life is good at that point. You'll sleep the whole off season.
Sure. But I would much rather be one of those guys in the background.
You'd
Reed
rather
Blankenship.
be Josh Elliott,
Josh Elliott, Reed
two-time Super
Blankenship,
Bowl champion, by the way.
Landon Dickerson.
Yeah.
Just some of those guys who you're loved by the fans. You know that you're going to kick ass at the parade, but you just get to just party, enjoy yourself in the locker room. Like the stuff with Jalen Hurts, that was so sick when he's sitting down, he's just got the trophy, he's got his cigar, but he was also sick in another way in that you just had people coming to crowd around him. Like, give the man some space. He's just trying to get out of there. And then everyone goes in taking photos. I'd hate it.
Yeah, I know. I saw Brandon Marshall get up all close, be like, can I take a picture, bro? And just like, let him be, man. He's had the biggest moment of his life. And, man, how about Saquon? Shotgun and beers in the locker room. Did you see him down those? Did you see Bob Lang, former 49ers PR guy, getting down?
No, what?
Oh, yeah, he was shotgunning beers. I saw a photo of that. Howie Roseman dancing with everybody. Seemed like a fun time. So the parade, it's going to go down this Friday on Valentine's Day. He was not part of this team, but I'm sure they would like him to talk. Do you think that Jason Kelce shows up again looking like the Sultan from Aladdin?
No, they shouldn't have that.
Why not?
Because his time's passed. He literally
he's a fan favorite, and that was so awesome when he came. Like, remember when he was like, God, what was his phrase? We're a pack of hungry dogs, and if I don't eat, I'm fucking starving.
The underdog is a hungry dog. No, dude. He retired. It's not his team anymore. Let Brandon Graham do the talking. Let Lane Johnson do the talking. Let one of those guys do it.
Yeah, but as you know, Jalen Hurts will just speak in quotes, though.
Sure. I mean, he's not going to have much at the parade, but don't bring Jason Kelce into it.
I think Jason Kelce's going to speak.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know, man.
If anybody from the old guard would show up and speak, like Chris Long's type of guy, they'd be like, "Nah, it's not my time anymore. You guys talk." Jason Kelce.
He also spent like 2 years in Philly. Like
what? Chris Long?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you listen to his podcast and he's like, "Oh man, I'm so proud of those guys." Like, yeah, you think you're like a lifetime Eagle?
That's the thing. It's like I looked up. I had to look up his bio after I saw that. I'm like, wait a second. You spent like 7 years with the St. Louis Rams, dude.
He's close by. He lives in Virginia. He just goes over to Philly all the time.
I know, and he's a very likable guy, so it's no surprise. But yeah, I don't know. I would just be kind of like, would Jason Kelce want that? He seems like, I don't know, dude. He seems like the type of guy where he'd just be like, no, this is their celebration. Like this isn't my time.
Probably right. You're probably right.
You know,
but
I know Jason. I know Jason personally. I've listened to a few New Heights episodes, and I've seen him through clips and stuff.
And you know him.
And I know him through it. He walked right by me at the Lake Tahoe tournament.
Oh, did he?
Didn't say anything. Both the Kelce brothers. The only person who actually acknowledged someone near us was Kylie Kelce when a couple of brothers had 2 beers each, and they asked if the Kelce brothers could shotgun. They didn't acknowledge them, but Kylie did, and she said they'd kick your fucking ass. You don't want that. Oh, okay.
I think that Jason would probably, you're probably right. He wanted to be more respectful of the people that actually won the Super Bowl this time around, but I could see him getting on the stage just being like, go fucking birds, and that's all he says. And
okay, he could do that. He could do that. I could see that, but I don't see him making like a 7 or 8 minute speech.
No. He doesn't need to do any of that. No.
Yeah, he could be up there. God, Nick Sirianni at a parade's going to be something.
He's going to get drunk. No one's going to pull a Matthew Stafford and watch someone just fall off the stage, but they're going to have a good time. Remember that?
Oh my God, yeah. I could see Sirianni looking like Michael Malone up there.
Give it up for Brucey B.
Yeah,
my guy's not going fucking anywhere. Then a month later,
we're bringing him back, baby. We're bringing him back next year, Bruce. You're not going anywhere.
Breaking news: Bruce Brown signs with the Indiana Pacers.
Brutal.
Yeah. So the broadcast. You, me, and Jesse.
Can I do this hot sauce now? This is,
oh yeah,
this is really
yeah.
bugging
Go ahead.
me.
Steven lost. He picked the Chiefs.
I lost in
You
that.
see,
and
you see, Steven, this is why you take chances sometimes. This is why you take chances.
Yeah, no, it's come back to bite me. Look, I also think I lost on the party prop bets too.
Well, you and I nailed John Baptiste. Thank God he did Land of the Brave 3 times.
Dude, if we had money on that,
yeah,
that thing was at like, I don't know who clocked it, but it was at like 2 minutes exactly.
I think he did that on purpose too.
Oh shit, forgot but the Manning brother, you got that with Eli.
Dude, Peyton was pissed.
Yeah. We both kind of selected. I said that SZA would wear a jersey. We both got the.
She didn't even wear the alien bug eyes.
We got the color Gatorade wrong, but ultimately I ended up losing on that. So on multiple fronts. So I'm gonna do the hot sauce.
Just drink it straight. Gonna mainline that shit?
No, dude. I still got the chips.
There you go. So me, Steven, and Jesse reacted instantly when we saw the score bug.
That's a lot.
If that's that is a lot. Have fun.
Oh God.
So Steven, what did you think of the Fox and Super Bowl score bug?
I thought it was a backup. Oh no, there's not gonna be a good.
Yeah, when we saw that thing and it was huge font for KC and Philadelphia. Could have used the logos probably. Like, I'm a big score bug guy. Like, I always think it's crazy how we didn't have the score bug back in the day, like pre-1994. But the way it looked without having like covering over the numerals, I thought was just crazy. It looked terrible. And then whenever they would go to the booth shot of Tom Brady and Kevin Burkhardt, like they were in Bourbon Street on the French Quarter, I thought that was just incredibly stupid.
Yeah,
like, just show them, like it was along the same lines of Tom Brady getting teleported like the Great Kazoo inside the Fox studio. Like, just show them in the booth. We don't need to have this fake thing like they're having a party down Bourbon Street while the game's going on. Just show them in the booth. And then
not even a party down Bourbon Street. It was completely empty.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid to have that weird special effect. I think like Fox using a lot of unnecessary shit, like when Jimmy Johnson was doing like his AI thing when he was like younger Jimmy Johnson, that whole thing where it's like, this was me when I was at Oklahoma State. Then I moved my way to Miami. Then I became head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Then I went back to be Miami head coach. And now, well, I'm an old man. All that for then Kurt Menefee. And he's like, Jimmy Johnson's got like tears in his eyes. And he's like, so is this goodbye? And he's like, oh, one day at a time. It's like, well, just announce your retirement then. Like, what the hell are we doing here? The worst thing where we all laughed. There was a moment when the second half started where Kevin Burkhardt was not talking for a long time. He was expecting Tom Brady to have some analysis. Tom didn't say anything. Then you hear Tom go, you know what they should do, KB? The Chiefs should treat the second half like they're down 3-0. And then instantly Kevin Burkhardt goes, why? Not like, give me a reason why. That's an interesting point. Like, why in the tone of, you sound like a fucking idiot, Tom. Why would you say that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tom Brady did not have a good night.
That was the best. It was, dude, what did they expect, though? Like, I think there's been, God, it still hurts. There's been so much that's been said about Brady and Fox. We've talked about it all year, man. This isn't like,
yeah,
you're not waiting for some low-level draft pick to just get better and better each year. Like, this is the big leagues. You elevated him as a starter, not a starter on a team that's going to be going to the Super Bowl. And he wasn't ready for the moment, dude. It was bad. And I still think it's a huge mistake that he's going with this broadcasting thing. I guess it's because he's so competitive that he just wants to prove to everyone that he could be good at this.
Yeah.
But I think it's a huge mistake. I think he needs to focus full time on being the Raiders' part owner and focus on that, whatever they're going to do at quarterback, making the team better. Because I don't think he's doing himself any favors. I really don't think so. And I think it was a total disrespect to a guy like Greg Olson, who was made for that moment. And seeing him talk during the playoffs earlier about how he watches these games and you wonder how you're going to come at it with that angle. Like Brady, I don't think he even thinks about coming at it at a different angle. He just, you see what's on the football field and he says what he sees. Great.
Yeah, and we all could see it as viewers, but a lot of it's like just Kevin Burkhardt sitting up, be like, well, you were here 23 years ago, Tom, or you were down by this deficit in the Super Bowl. It's all relating to him back in the day of what he's accomplished. It should be. I saw a great clip of Tom talking with Colin Cowherd about how when he was quarterbacking, they would change things at the line of scrimmage. He always knew what his second option was going to be or what they had designed in a play call. And that was 10 times more interesting than anything I've ever heard him on a broadcast. So who am I to tell Tom Brady, stop doing what you want to do? He's going to keep doing it. And they're paying him handsomely, and they get the ratings because of him. But is he good at it? No, not really. But he doesn't give a shit. He's going to keep trying to be better. So, and the league has no issue with him simultaneously being a part owner and then calling games. So nothing's going to stop. They love being in the business of Tom Brady.
Well, they clearly do have an issue with it because there's the Brady broadcast rule. So they have some form of an issue with it.
Yeah, but like nothing's preventing him from doing it right now because he goes along with the guidelines that he's not allowed to go into a team facility during the week.
Sure.
But then he's able to interview Patrick Mahomes, though, which I don't understand.
Yeah, that was just a one-off.
Yeah, it was, but
no, it was just a one-off. But I don't know. I who are we to say it? Well, for one, I'm a Raider fan, so
yeah,
that's who I am to say that. Focus on that job, man. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think of the commercials, real quick? I mean, we noticed a lot of them. I thought they were. I mean, the commercials now have gotten stale. You see them on YouTube ads already. The funniest ones I thought were Seal as a Seal with Mountain Dew and Eugene Levy's eyebrows flying away for the what was it, Little Caesars?
Yeah.
That's about it.
I know it's the Super Bowl, man, but just with Media Row, and I know it's all about making money, but it's just so commercialized, dude. It kind of waters everything down. Like they basically have like Super Bowl commercials during the season now, where it's just they're using all these teasers to get you ready for this specific moment.
Uber Eats. Yeah,
and the payoff is just it's nothing. It wasn't that cool. Like the payoff for Matthew McConaughey, the amount that we had to sit through him going, "The Bears. The Bears. I will do it again. The Bears." The amount of times we had to sit through that only to have that commercial, it's just a waste, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. The commercials are just no one cares about them anymore.
It's too much build up for nothing. Like the Reese's lava thing I thought was stupid.
Jeremy Strong making fun of method acting and then going into why he's making fun of method acting.
The Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Ben Affleck and Belichick and his girlfriend.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. By the way, did you see her trolling the Falcons around New Orleans wearing a Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl champion shirt?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Her name's like Jordan Hudson, and that's a troll level. That's a troll on two levels where Belichick didn't get the Falcons job, and they were down 28-3 in the Super Bowl to the Falcons. But also, I think that's kind of lame. Where I'm sure, like the sad thing is, some children in a third world country that need to be clothed, they're going to think that the Chiefs are 3-time Super Bowl champions, a three-peat, because they get all that clothing. And Jordan Hudson took that Falcon shirt away from the needy.
Jesus.
She did.
Brutal.
Okay. Halftime show. You and I and Jesse all watched it together. I thought it was fun. I'm not a huge Kendrick fan, but every time he comes out with an album, I listen to it. I listen to the new one. Uh, Nothing compares to Good Kid, Mad City, but he's like one of the best. He's probably the best hip hop artist out there today. And I thought it was very creative to incorporate Sam Jackson as Uncle Sam because he knew right away what people were going to say. It's basically making fun of white America for not understanding or not liking Kendrick Lamar. So he was like Sam Jackson said all the things that I've been hearing the last couple days of people that don't want to hear rap or his style of rap during the Super Bowl, or people like, I can't understand what he's saying. Like, whatever. Super Bowl's halftime show's not for you. So you don't have to like it, but it's the most watchable performance of all time, and I thought it was very well done. Incorporations of different songs. Hard to tell which ones were songs and which ones were interludes, so it was hard to do like the count of how many songs he did. But it was a ultimate troll job to Drake for doing "They Not Like Us" and taking out the pedophile line, but still like saying "Hey Drake" and smiling at the camera, having SZA there, his old flame, having Serena Williams, who I had no idea they dated, but she's coming out crip walking. Yeah, like Kendrick Lamar set out to kill Drake in his career because Drake decided to say he's a better MC than him, and he killed him since July or whenever this song came out. I think it was May, maybe.
Yeah.
But like since this song came out and the music video came out on July 4th, and then everyone's playing it, everyone loves it. It sweeps all the Grammys, and on the world's biggest stage, the Super Bowl, or America's biggest stage, I should say, the whole country is laughing at Drake. He wins. It's the biggest fuck you in hip hop beef of all time.
Yeah, I think that's where I had a problem with it, though.
Really?
Yeah, I think Kendrick has so much more in his catalog than Not Like Us. So many more better songs. He had to.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
He had to do it, but it's just like obviously the performance was amazing. Like he didn't lip sync. That's one thing. Just the energy that he has. It was all fantastic. And there's, him wearing his little A minor chain, and all that stuff. I didn't really like, I don't really, it's not that I care for Drake. I don't care about that. But I never really liked the song in the first place. I didn't like how much it's just been played. And I don't know. It just felt kind of like a meh halftime show to me. Like it was good. The performance was great. But as far as just the song selection and all that, he played, he went, back and forth between a couple of things with Damn and GNX, but I don't know. I never really looked at Kendrick as a guy who had like hits. I had him as a guy who I enjoy listening to his albums front to back because they're very deep. They're very conceptual. I never really thought of him as like a hits kind of guy. Like Humble was always kind of a hit, but I don't know. It felt like it had some underground thing to it. And now he's been put into the mainstream, and I respect all of it, but I came away from that halftime show going, it was good, but it wasn't like, damn. I didn't sit back in my chair and go, I can't believe that just happened. I just thought it was kind of like The Weeknd to me. It was just like, all right, he's a really good performer. He's got some songs, but it was just another halftime show. There's some cool things happen. Samuel L. Jackson and all that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I have a problem with the medley version of these Super Bowl halftime shows. Like the fact that the over-under is at 10.5 songs. I just went back to watch Prince's halftime show today, and he played like 4. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I wish I could say like I loved it, but I just kind of came away from it like the Serena thing was sick. I was like, oh my god, is that you heard me? And I was like, is that Serena? Is that Serena? Oh my god, that's Serena. But I don't know. It kind of just came and went, and it was what we expected almost.
I thought it was. I'm like, maybe I'm biased because I like his music, so I could tolerate that halftime show. I'm not a
Right.
Weekend guy. I'm not a Lady Gaga guy. I'm not even really that big of a Beyonce guy. So those performances, I'm like, I don't know the music, so I can't really get into it. But uh, I know Kendrick's music, so I was like, all right, I can get along with this, and I think I think it's well done. He's not going to put on like a grand performance. Like I thought it was cool with the X's and O's and the game over stuff and the choreography with the dancers. But I still love, like, what was it, 3 years ago? Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and Kendrick. I thought that was better than this. Um, but I thought it was well done. It's, you
Yeah,
know,
well, I'm not saying it wasn't well done. It was all very well done. I just kind of, you know, I'm just tired of the Kendrick and Drake thing, and the fact that it was just
I think it's done now. It should be done now.
well, it's not, because Drake's still going at him. It's just
In
to
what
me,
way?
it's he changed up his lyrics or something when he performed in Melbourne, and he's like, "It's not game over; it's only just begun," or something to that.
Okay.
To that.
No,
So
it's over. Just take
just
the L.
just spending a halftime show doing, like, dedicating it to your beef with Drake. I just whatever.
But it was one song, though.
I know, but still, it was just like, that's the climax. Cool, we get
What?
it.
Was that the last song? I don't think it was.
It was the second to last song.
All right. Let's get into the Serena thing. It's been a hot button topic for the last 2 days now.
Yeah.
Because Stephen A went on First Take and was like, if I saw my ex, or if I saw my current wife dancing on stage trying to get back at her ex, I would divorce her. Bye bye. I don't know about that. I mean, like,
Heard that live. Oy.
yeah. I mean, like, Serena, like, I think it's more of like a solidarity thing with, like, she's from Compton and Kendrick's from Compton. She just wants to dance out there. If I was the husband, I'd kind of be like, okay, like, if you want to do that, go for it. But, like, why do you feel the need to do that? But I wouldn't, like, Stephen A is like, oh, I would divorce her ass. Like, relax.
What, you gonna stop your wife from getting a moment in a Super Bowl halftime show?
Well, of course.
You know
But
what-
but we all know the intention there.
Sure, but it's still a Super Bowl halftime show.
No, definitely.
I mean,
That's the one thing where, like, Kendrick's like, so I'm just gonna buddy up to all of Drake's exes, and Sis is a good performer, so like she's already on songs with him, but like
Right.
like Serena's part of that song, right? And They Not Like Us, like he references her,
yes,
yeah.
correct.
So that makes sense, but like, yeah, Stephen A. like being like, I don't want my woman going out there and dancing to get back at her ex. She doesn't want to be with me then.
I don't know where he gets that logic from. Is he married?
No,
Yeah, I wonder why.
yeah. Well, I think he was maybe at one point. He has kids, I believe.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be a little more insecurity on Stephen A's part.
It's just like, it was a little much.
Yeah, I thought so. And now, season's over, Stephen. What the hell do we do now?
Literally anything with our lives. Actually go out and enjoy the sun on a Sunday.
No, Stephen. It sucks. No football. 205 days until the start of the regular season. But hey, we're less than a month away from the frenzy. The fuckery, even. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Stop acting like you're not into it, because you are.
What is it? The March 12th? March 12th is free agency?
Nope. 2 days before that, my friend, March 10th is when the legal tampering starts.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's when things get crazy.
Uh-huh.
And it's already started, because you can't have Super Bowl Sunday without some breaking news. That's when I know they have to fill, it feels like 7 hours of commercial-free football. No, 7 hours of pregame before the Super Bowl. So they have to come up with things to talk about besides the game. But it's kind of interesting to me how all these insiders just sit on their information for a good deal of time, and then they unload on Super Bowl Sunday. but that's part of the game. I get it. So I thought Deebo Samuel was not coming back to the 49ers. I thought that his demeanor kind of represented that all season, where he was kind of in the locker room just, yep, I want to be more involved in the offense. Whatever is what it is. I think that he wanted out. He kind of knew what the deal was before the season started, like on draft day, where Diana Rossini was talking to him about potentially getting traded, and he was like, I know what the season's going to be. Them drafting Ricky Pearsall put a timeline to how long he was going to stick around. So when it comes out on Sunday morning that he asked the 49ers for a trade after the exit interviews, I'm not surprised at all. And it's funny how they had their end of the season press conference, and John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan were asked about Deebo Samuel's future with the team, and John Lynch is like, he's under contract, so we're not in the business of just trading away great players. But I wonder what they will get for Deebo Samuel. I think a 5th-round pick. It's kind of in the same boat as Cooper Kupp. We'll see if anybody wants to trade for that contract, but I am not surprised at all that the 49ers are moving off of Deebo Samuel.
No. When it started to crumble was that game against the Rams, a team he normally kills, and he drops one over the middle of the field. Fans start to boo him. I think they get tired of his podcast. He got made fun of so much this year for his pregame fits. And I don't – look, man, Deebo, one of the strongest, sometimes the most feared player in the NFL. But one thing I think is for sure is he can be a little bit like Kevin Durant, or the way we thought about Kevin Durant, can be a little sensitive. And I think he heard a lot of that. Obviously, the stuff with Jake Moody, too. But after they paid Ayuk, gave that contract to Jennings, drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first round, I think he knew the writing was on the wall. And this would be his best chance to go out and prove it one more time and potentially get a new contract. So it will be interesting to see which team does get him. Shoot. I mean, how do you not think that the Dolphins are in trying to trade a draft pick for him?
Maybe.
Or, trying to get him back with McDaniel, because it just seems like every former 49er goes there. I don't know where he would go. But 5th rounder sounds about right, but not surprised.
Yeah. I thought the Chargers probably make the most sense right now, just because they have a very run-based offense, and they could use him as a Swiss Army knife like he was with the 49ers. Mm-hmm. Dolphins make sense, too. Maybe if they move off of Tyreek Hill, they can replace him with Deebo. Raiders, maybe with Chip Kelly. He likes that type of style. There's going to be – I think there's options for Deebo Samuel. But, yeah, I think 5th-round pick – and it's funny because in the offseason, Dieter Kurtenbach said that he heard that the Baltimore Ravens offered a 2nd-round pick, or maybe even a 1st, and the Niners turned them down. And they would pray to get that right now, because I think a 5th is probably the best they're going to get. The Niners need a 5th-round pick. They lost it as part of their punishment for the accounting error they had, so they need a 5th-round pick. They would be lucky to get a 5th-round pick right now. Deebo Samuel is due $15 million on March 22nd, and there's no way in hell the Niners are going to pay that, especially if he's not going to be on the football team. There's a dead cap situation. They got to post June 1st designate, all that shit. It's going to be like $31 million in dead cap, but if he's on the roster by March 22nd, they owe him $15 million. I've asked Matt Mayoko and Matt Barrows if it's more likely that Deebo Samuel is traded or cut, and they both believe that there's definitely a trade market for him, but with the deadline there, you could see Deebo Samuel get cut. And yeah, same thing as Cooper Kupp. I would not be surprised if they just come off the football team.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they get nothing for him going into free agency.
Yeah, they shouldn't have traded him at the deadline this year. Shoot.
Or even before that, man, with drafting Ricky Pearsall, like I think they should have pulled the trigger last year.
Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy what a fall from grace it was for him. God, he was most people's favorite player. Because everyone loved the Brock Purdy's, they loved the Nick Bosa's, everyone loves George Kittle, but Deebo had that grit to him. He kind of define 49ers football in 2021, just with the physicality, that style where it's like you're going to get the ball in his hands and he's just going to make you pay for it. It felt like that with the 49ers that year. And it felt there to an extent, it felt like that in 2023, though it was more about Christian McCaffrey than Deebo. But Deebo still had, that big game against the Eagles, and obviously more against the Rams. And then this year, it's just, God, he was just maligned all over the place from the red and gold. That's crazy.
Yeah, not to mention, he talked mad shit about James Bradbury 2 years ago during Media Row and said he was trash. This time around, he was supporting the Eagles. He was rocking an A.J. Brown jersey around Media Row. And they FaceTimes him in the locker room after they win.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
You're friends with other football players, that's fine. But when you claim to have this rivalry with the Eagles, you're kind of showing your true colors. I think it was kind of Deebo being like, I don't ride with the Niners anymore, so why do I give a fuck?
Yeah. But we've talked about it on the podcast before. We love to think that our favorite players have this emotional attachment to the teams.
Yeah.
Not really. Like, I think it's financial. And once that financial goes away, like that's kind of when the emotion's taken out of it. And they're just going to be willing to go to whichever team is going to pay them.
Yeah.
And
Rocket New Era, as it put it perfectly, Deebo's value on the team went down when CMC was acquired. Yeah, I agree. And you hope that McCaffrey's at full strength this season, but he does the same things that Deebo does. So I'm sure that they were going to see what the trade value was going to be this offseason. We're probably going to move him. But now Deebo and the Niners feel the same way, so they're mutually going to part. I think at the end of the day, they do find a trade partner, but I would also not be surprised if they just ran out of time and cut him.
And what's that deadline again?
March 22nd.
Wow.
So 12 days after the legal tampering period.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens with Deebo Samuel. No surprise here either. Jordan Schultz and Jay Glazer had it. The Jets are going to be moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Apparently they met last week, and they told him that they want him at every mini camp if he's going to go forward with them, and he can no longer do any Pat McAfee appearances, which I'm like, good for them. Good for Aaron Glenn. Good for the new GM. Good for Woody Johnson to be like, it's a bad look. We don't want you doing it anymore. We want you dedicated to our football team. And if for a guy that, when he was hurt 2 years ago, said, like, we need to cut all the bullshit out of this locker room, he definitely caused more bullshit. And I also think that they just wanted to get rid of him. So I think it's a mutual parting. I think that we'll see if he still wants to play. I think it's all determined on, like, you won't like see anything official probably. I would not be the least bit surprised if they're not doing anything right now because he wants to see what the market is for him free agency wise. And if it comes back where everyone's like, sorry, man, we don't think you could play anymore, then it's just going to come out that he retires. And that's way it looks a lot better than him just being like, I got released. No one wanted me. Now I have to retire. I think that we're not going to hear anything from the Jets for a while, and Rodgers, he'll do his darkness retreat or whatever the fuck. And then if it comes back where the Steelers don't want him or any other team doesn't want him, like, that's the only team I could think of that would make sense right now. Raiders don't make sense. Vikings don't make sense. It's better to go forward with J.J. McCarthy if you're not going to sign Sam Darnold. So, yeah, I think that right now we're in wait and see period because Rodgers is looking to see if anyone's interested in him, and if they're not, then he'll just retire.
Well, why wouldn't the Raiders make sense?
Because I think it's time. It's with Chip Kelly's offense. I think they want to go younger. And I don't know if you saw, Steven, but the quarterback that they're linked to the most, Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Schefter had that.
And I think that makes sense with Chip Kelly's offense. I do.
Yeah, sure. But he also said multiple veteran quarterbacks, right?
Are linked to the Raiders?
Yeah. Maybe we've already mentioned this name before, but maybe goes to his old Ducks friend, Marcus Mariota.
Well, not to be the starter, though.
No, not to be the starter, just to bring him on.
Yeah, no, I would definitely anticipate that. Like the quarterback carousel this offseason is going to be interesting because Rodgers is not coming back with the Jets. It sounds like the Steelers want to move on from Russell Wilson. Um, the biggest one, well, we'll find out what happens with Kirk Cousins. It sounds like he'll be cut at some point from the Falcons. They'll move forward with Michael Penix. The biggest one, though, you heard about this in the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks. Matthew Stafford wants a new contract, and it sounds like the Rams don't want to give it to him. Like he wants $40 million a year, and they don't want to do that for an aging quarterback. The rumor is that Matthew Stafford could get traded to the New York Giants.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be very interesting.
That'd be
Not
sick
that-
with
not-
him and Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that would catapult them to being a good team again, but that's very interesting where the Rams would rather move on from Matthew Stafford. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, I could see them trading Stafford away and maybe just wanting to do like 1 year with Rodgers and then draft a quarterback. I don't know.
Oy.
Maybe.
I don't know. 40 million though. That seems like, as far as the going rate of quarterbacks, if you can get Stafford at that price, it feels like that would be a deal.
It should be, but I think that the rumor is like we've heard Matthew Stafford trade rumors for a while now. Like ever since he won the Super Bowl, it was kind of like the Rams are looking to trade off that contract. And I heard a little bit that McVay and Stafford are not on the best terms these days.
Did you hear that from?
I'm not going to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You got sources, huh?
I got a little intel on that one.
Ooh. So what's been going on?
Just that McVay is not really when he knows that a quarterback is done, he's ready to move off of them. So he probably sees things in Stafford's game where he was like, that's not the same Stafford that I remember. And it's kind of like the same deal with Jared Goff. When he's cold on you, he's cold on you. And it's time to find the next thing.
Boy, I wonder what that next thing is then. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like I saw like Strager was like, don't be surprised if they just go with Jimmy G. And I'm like, oh my God, that'd be such a downgrade.
That'd be terrible.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible. Wow. Well, go get them, Raiders.
That would be interesting too. But I would not be the least bit surprised if Sam Darnold's the Raiders quarterback. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. I have to see. We'll see. Should we talk a little bit about the Warriors before we sign off here?
Oh yeah.
Looking pretty good with Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butts. Yeah.
Butler.
Yeah. Go give me your take first, Steven, and then I'll tell you mine.
Oh man. I mean, look, dude, it's 2 games, and I think the hype's going to get even bigger because these next 2 are against the Mavericks, who just don't have a center again. All of them seem to be hurt. The Houston Rockets have been sliding. So I think you can actually go into the All-Star break a perfect 4-0 with Jimmy. Look, I'm not going to say this is going to be a playoff team or a finals team just based off of these 2 games. But what matters most to me is that he has renewed whatever hope they seem to have lost, whatever conviction they lost. I think that it's been pretty telling with how Steve Kerr's talked about their body language, how they were going to be a volume team with the 3-pointers, and they were going to be shooting them at a rate like you have not seen in quite some time. Well, when they've been living and dying by the 3-pointer, mostly dying, that's when their confidence goes away. Jimmy Butler is going to be able to slow things down and just they'll create space, get him one-on-one, open on the floor, and if not, he'll kick it out to, Quentin Post, who's open in the corner, have him knock down a few threes in a row.
Dude, Johnny Drama, man.
Or Lamar Odom's got great calves. Or just watching the relationship with him and Steph kind of blossom. I think that's my biggest takeaway with them so far. And everything that you've come to see is like his IQ, knowing when to drive, knowing when to pass. Like he is just kind of an all around really good player. Maybe not the 3-point shooting aspect of it, but you got other guys on the team that can do this. And the Kuminga stuff, we can have that conversation when Kuminga is going to actually come back. We don't know when he's coming back. We just know he's going to be out through the All-Star break.
Yep.
But
And then
I
some.
think that what you've seen right now is just hope restored, and I think that's kind of what they needed, because my God, it was getting so sad just watching them on a nightly basis and hearing the way they were talking about themselves. Like, it couldn't have done them any favors doing these post-game press conferences. Hey, do you want to tell us about why you keep sucking so bad? Well, let me tell you and try and give you a different answer than I gave you the last game. But in reality, we're just not a very good team, and we know it. And when we miss shots, and we know we suck, and we didn't need any of that anymore. So now you're getting a little more positivity in the locker room.
Yeah, to hear Steph go from a couple of weeks ago, like Anthony Slater asking him, how does this improve offensively? And he just goes, I don't know. I have no answer for you. To now being like, it's so much easier for me to score now. And they're a different team than where they were less than a week ago against the LA Lakers when they made the trade. I was skeptical of the trade initially just because I heard of all the bad things with Jimmy from Miami and the hesitancy of Steph and Draymond and Steve Kerr to do it. And it kind of sounded like that the night that they did the trade. Because Steph didn't sound on board and Steve didn't sound on board. But now they're loving it. And I'm loving it too. I really underestimated how unselfish Jimmy Butler's going to be. Because initially I thought he was going to do the same old stuff he did in Miami where it's all him, ISO ball. And he acknowledged in the press conference, the goal is give the ball to Steph and get the F out of the way. And that's what he's been doing. Like, I thought there was some awkwardness against the Chicago Bulls initially. He got the ball, great alley-oop from Hield. But there were moments where the Warriors just kind of like let him do his thing. And he was like looking around for someone to pass to. And he was like, come on, guys, let's get involved. He's kind of perfect for the offense right now. They're not shooting threes like they did before, but they're moving the ball around, and he's getting to the rack. He's getting to the line. He's being aggressive. Steph, like he had to bail them out in that Bulls game. They were down by 24, and he scores 24 in the third quarter and gets them back in that game. But Jimmy was awesome in that game. Just his presence at the free throw line, his assists, his steals. He's doing it on both ends. It's kind of like having another Draymond out there, a guy that is good defensively. He's more offensively gifted than Draymond, but they're the high-level IQs between Steph, Draymond, and Jimmy. I know a lot of people are comparing him to Andre Iguodala. He's definitely a better offensive player than Andre Iguodala. For anyone saying, like, Andrew Wiggins is a better player, you may like Andrew Wiggins a lot better. And you might like his personality better, but Andrew Wiggins is not a better player and not a more consistent player than Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler gives it to you every night. He's a dog. Everyone says that about him. He's bringing something different to the Warriors. And yeah, it's 2 games. They played the lowly Bulls. And funny enough, they played Vucevic right after the trade deadline. And I got to say, kind of glad they didn't make the deal. Because Quinton Post is being a better stretch 5 than Vucevic right now. He's sinking down shots. I like his style.
He's kind of getting killed on defense, but it's as long as he's making those 3-pointers, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like he doesn't need to start. Like Vucevic wasn't a great defensive player either, but yeah, like we'll see what happens when they need to go big. They'll probably go Trey Jackson-Davis or Kevon Looney to start the games. We'll see it depends on the matchup, and we'll see when Jonathan Kuminga comes back. It's interesting that Moses Moody played the 4 last night. I wonder if they want to start him more when Kuminga's back playing at the 2, but we'll see about that. But as far as Jimmy Butler, I mean, yeah, they had a great win last night. I know that the Milwaukee Bucks were coming off a back-to-back. They didn't have Giannis. This is the time, okay, well, let's capitalize on these injuries. Giannis wasn't playing last night. Tomorrow night, they're playing the Mavericks with Anthony Davis out. They got the Houston Rockets, who they usually beat. So let's go into the All-Star game with a winning streak. Let's see if they can change things. I'm not expecting them to be – I still think they're a play-in team. I still probably say they're the 9 seed or the 8 seed or the 7 seed. The 6 seed is going to be really hard, but they're watchable. They're entertaining. Jimmy Butler's bringing something that they didn't have probably since, honestly, like a star of his magnitude, probably since Kevin Durant. It rejuvenated Steph. It's giving him more spacing. They're playing very differently. I think they're set up to be a better playoff team than a regular season team. So, yeah, I'm definitely changing my tune on Jimmy Butler.
Well, they also got to like if they get in, watch out because that's
Yeah.
where Jimmy Butler's kind of known to turn it on. And something that he's already kind of displaying mostly at the end of these games that Andrew Wiggins didn't. This was a problem with Wiggins through his career, and I do think the backlash was always kind of harsh. But when he's playing well, whether he's playing poorly, like you couldn't tell because you didn't really see much emotion from him. It's kind of nice having a player be hard on himself, like Butler. Like he had 15 free throws and he missed 3 of them, and he's like, God, I hate misses. You know what I mean? Like you never hear Wiggins talk like that, and I don't know. I'm not trying to knock on him, but I just think if Wiggins was like their second best player, if he was the number 2. You needed someone with a little more attitude, and I think Jimmy Butler brings that. Do you see what Butler said about Quentin Post, by the way?
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
He told Anthony Slater of Quentin Post, that's my dog. We both basically from Amsterdam. I'm also Brazilian and Colombian. I used to live and work out over where he was, where he played at first. So I got a lot of love for him, and he plays so incredibly hard and hella smart and can shoot the hell out of it. I like young fella.
Hella smart. There you go, Jimmy.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's funny how we thought about like him and Draymond, how are their personalities going to mesh? We thought that they were going to turn into, I don't know, Mr. 3000 and T-Rex Pennebaker when it started out. But instead, Stan Ross and T-Rex Pennebaker. But instead, we get the Bash Brothers from the Mighty Ducks. Like, that's what we're getting right now. So I like it.
Yeah.
It's just everything, man. Everything.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of when JaMarcus Cousins came over and we thought that maybe he would be volatile with Draymond, but they're just like 2 peas in a pod. They're definitely very similar to each other, so they're probably going to get along with each other. So, yeah, we'll see what happens with the Warriors.
So far, so good, man. Early returns are good. How could you not like it? And again, I'm going to go back to, like, we're just so entrenched in Bay Area sports talk. We don't really take the opinions of others, but I saw a lot of Heat stuff where they're like, what the hell are the Heat doing with Jimmy? Why are they disrespecting him this way? And when you see them talk, like we're looking at me like, oh man, he got suspended 3 different times in January. Like this dude's a head case. Like he's got problems over there. Maybe it was Pat Riley who had some issues and, didn't have to say those things during that post game last year or that end of season presser rather. Like
I know, but like I said before, he's Pat Riley. I would agree with the Heat. Yeah, but
you don't disrespect your top player like that by saying, shut. You keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, Pat Riley, I mean, as described in that Athletic article, he might be a little unhinged these days. But if it was one isolated incident, I probably would agree with you, Stephen. But he had the thing in Minnesota. I want to say he had troubles in Philadelphia. It's not just one thing with Jimmy Butler.
Sure. But I think that's also, that was a whole thing.
Yeah.
That was a whole thing.
And then Luka debuted last night. Didn't have a great shooting performance, but the Lakers scored 100 points in 3 quarters. They played the Jazz, so it's hard to say with that one. But the Mark Williams trade got rescinded, so they don't have their big center, although they signed one today. What's his name? Alex Len, yeah. Len from the Sacramento Kings. He's 7 feet.
Kings legend.
So we'll see if they get rim protection with him. But, yeah, like you look at the Western Conference right now, I think it would take a lot for the Warriors to get up to the 6th seed. Probably have to win like maybe 50 games. And I don't know if that's in the cards right now. But like you see the teams, like the team they're going to play on Thursday, the Rockets. I could see the Rockets slipping. and not making the playoffs, but got to be in a play-in team. And we'll see how the Warriors stack up against these inexperienced playoff teams if they have to face the Minnesota Timberwolves, who they've beaten before, or the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. I'm not closing the door on their season yet. I don't think they're going to be a championship team this year, but they're definitely different, and they're more exciting, and they're fun to watch.
Good. That's all we needed right now.
Yep.
This season was a dud.
Are you getting really into any of the All-Star festivities this weekend?
Not really.
Yeah. I think the whole thing's kind of weird. I don't care about the Celebrity All-Star game with celebrities I never heard of before. The three-point shooting contest, not anybody that I'm dying to see. The slam dunk contest is a bunch of guys I don't even know. The All-Star game has turned into a tournament now. So it's cool it's in the Bay Area. But I'm a little more interested in the Saturday Night Live anniversary show than the All-Star game.
Yeah. I mean, it's sad that in the 3-point contest, you're not having Steph Curry. I think that's the number one thing. Like, all right, so you're going to have him in the All-Star game. That'll be fun. But, I mean, there's not really anything that I'm looking forward to when it comes to that. Probably should be, but, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, a lot of people listening to KCBS, they're really looking forward to it, and it's going to be a cool event. You got a parade going on in San Francisco, and
oh, really?
Yeah, you got a lot of the Warriors doing a lot of charitable work to communities around the Bay Area, helping the underserved kids. So it's the All-Star stuff is it's really there's a great cause for it. But as far as like the actual events, yeah, there's not really much I'm looking forward to there.
Yeah, me neither. You looking forward to the? I know you and I were watching the Peacock Saturday Night Live docuseries. You excited for that 60th or 50th anniversary this Sunday?
Oh yeah, man. We're halfway now through the music one, the music documentary directed by Questlove.
Oh shit! I probably need to check that out then.
Yeah, that was a Saturday Night Live thing as well, celebrating the 50th anniversary. It's called Ladies and Gentlemen. And
Ladies and Gentlemen.
Yeah, 50 years of SNL music, and it's pretty great.
Yeah, I finished off. I told you and Jesse I finished off the rest of the SNL docs. The episode on the cowbell one was fantastic. The one on the writers, I wish they focused more on the history of the writers and not so much
current.
A week spending time with them, because they, as you said, you can see why some of them are not really funny these days.
Yeah.
But I rather hear their perspective of Tina Fey and Larry David a little bit more, and Seth Meyers, as opposed to these people I don't know. The last episode was very interesting about the weird year of 1985, where they brought in a whole new cast, and it was Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall, Randy Quaid. Like, it was just a weird season of Saturday Night Live, and that's the first year that Lorne Michaels came back. So that was interesting. I wish they got more episodes. Like, I would have loved a whole documentary based on the voice of SNL. This is a documentary on Don Pardo. But yeah, we got 4 episodes, and I'm very interested to see. The guest list sounds amazing. They're gonna have like Adam Sandler back, Andy Samberg, Eddie Murphy, Steve Martin, all of the regular people from back in the day. So I'm very excited about the SNL celebration this Sunday.
Yeah, what are they even gonna do for it?
I remember when they did the 40th one 10 years ago, and it's just a lot of bits, a lot of clips, sketches, even where they like some of the current cast pay homage to prior sketches. So it's going to be a lot of talking. The one thing I do remember last time they did this, Eddie Murphy came out and everybody kissed his ass, and everybody was like, yeah, Eddie Murphy, he's the greatest cast member of all time. I hope they don't do that again, because Saturday Night Live is bigger than Eddie Murphy. I'm sorry.
He was a big deal, though, at the time.
Extremely big deal. But I will say, I love Eddie Murphy, and Raw's one of my favorite stand-up performances of all time. His ego's a little too much for me sometimes.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
And that's all I got, Steven. Anything else?
I know we're not doing Jackass of the Week, but if I had to choose one, I'm
Sure.
gonna get it out this way now. But there was
Kanye?
someone in
Oh.
Alameda who apparently robbed a Girl Scout cookie stand, robbed a couple of Girl Scouts selling cookies of all of their cookies, Derek.
Are we sure it wasn't Tom Tolbert?
Not sure. We didn't have the suspect's name.
Because because people in the chat will know that Tom famously said on the show, "I hate Girl Scouts. Can't stand them."
It was on KCBS. Does he like barbecue? Does he like barbecue too?
Tom loves barbecue.
Well, then there you go. It was outside of a barbecue spot.
And, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Tom.
Yeah, I should. You know what? I should have followed up with the reporter. I should have been like, "Do you know if the suspect was tall, bald, and had a goatee?
Was he wearing shorts? He's always wearing shorts."
Yeah. But I don't know. I found that messed up. Though luckily, like the city created like a GoFundMe, and they got several $100s back, or several thousand even, for what was stolen. But apparently, Girl Scout cookies go for quite a bit on resale.
Oh, they do.
And which made me laugh. I feel like these guys that steal this stuff are doing like, back alley deals where they walk up in like a pea coat with the collar up, say, "Hey, you want the good stuff?"
Yeah.
And then just like opens their jacket and you got a box of tag-alongs in the middle of them. "I got everything you need."
Yeah.
Samoas.
I could see
peanut
that.
butter,
I could see that.
Whatever.
Yeah. And I doubt Tom would be that cold-hearted to steal cookies from children. So
Sure.
Highly doubt that.
Sure.
Speaking of Tom, very excited to see whatever he has planned next. It sounds like he's got a YouTube show coming up, so very excited to see that. And been talking with Tom. We'll set a date up, but as soon as that show starts going and he's established it a little bit, Tom has told me he's going to join us on this, so we'll figure out a time to do that. Who was it? Rock New Era was like, you guys should do a live show at Almanac Brewing with Tom, and I was like, if they'll have us, that'd be awesome. But that we'll see, baby steps. But yeah, we got some things planned. Tom's going to join the show at some point. Talked to Mike Silver today, and Mike Silver is going to join us during free agency. We're going to do a Raiders roundtable at some point with Alon and Joe Spadoni, hopefully soon. 49ers roundtable with our guys Tommy Call and Emmett Giddings, hopefully. We'll set that up with them. Yeah, and then we got the Jammies. If you don't know about the Jammies, we did it last year. It's our award show where we honor all the stupid things that happened in sports this last year. And we name an Opiner of the Year. And we gave that award to Ernie One last year. So we'll see if he reclaims his title or someone new gets the honor. So we'll do that sometime when we all come back. Me and Steve are going to take some time off. I'm going to go see my mom in Del Boca Vista, Boca Raton, for about a week, starting on Friday, actually. But I do a little red eye and get it on Saturday night. So the plan is we're going to take some time off. But we will be back on Sunday, We'll be back on Sunday, February 23rd, and we'll keep you guys posted on when we do all of these planned things. So thank you guys for hanging out with us this football season. I'm always sad when it ends, but I love the fuckery. As do you, Steven. Don't lie.
Yeah.
Sure.
To
everybody in the chat, we'll see you guys soon. To Rock a New Era, to Ernie One, to AJ Cruz has so many different accounts. Good Lord. He's got the Mexican American Dream, and then he's got his regular account. Otis Bird is the word. Tacky was in here earlier. Jesse, Pat H. I think that's it. All right, guys. We will see you in a couple of weeks. Who's filling in for me on KMBR? I think Rod Brooks is going to be filling in with Copes for that week next week. So we'll see you guys then. We'll see you on February 23rd, and we'll keep you updated on everything we do. Big things planned. Thank you guys for sticking with us this football, Steven. Steven. Season. Steven, say what you always say, my friend.
Oh my God, I'm exhausted. I got done moving. We're in the meter. I don't know if that's the way to close it out. That's just our opinion, man.